Yeah, I didn't like that one. I just pulled up and tried to. Well, all the attachments, there's two other articles that
Yes,
about
it was,
they actually, well, they're just attachments.
yeah, 3 invoices. And it was out of their ESSER 3 grant money. Yes. Yes, it was first student rendered services to them, invoiced them. We paid it out of their ESSER 3 money. Yeah, yeah. They get an allocation and we cut the check. Yeah. Yeah.
Beginning of the year, didn't have no bus drivers, right? Didn't have bus drivers. Beginning of the year.
Who didn't?
Well,
Well, they used for student.
yeah, that's what they something they needed bus drivers.
Yeah, I couldn't.
I'm sorry, my video. I'm just video. I think that buzz. I'm sure I hope you don't.
St. Louis.
It's good for her. I love use the restroom, but I guess
I know. I was just showing her I could say no to another. No, keep going. It wasn't only to Jerry. I could say no to me. I'm glad I heard it then.
Hard to find bottles.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah.
At this time, I would like to call the Peoria Public School Board of Education meeting for August 28th, 2003 to order. Madam Secretary, would you please call the roll?
Mrs. Costick? Here. Mr. Claus?
Here.
Mrs. McConnell?
here.
Dr. Ranking?
Here.
Mrs. Ross? President Murphy?
Here.
Mr. Wilson?
Here.
We have 7 present.
At this time, would you all please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
At this time, I would also like to thank Rise Academy to my left here for this board. Here Comes the Sun. I love all the handprints. They did a really great job with that. And then to my right, the Charter Oak Bobcats Unite. Some excellent pictures here. So if you get a chance after the meeting, come up and take a look at those. So thank you to both of those programs. All right. Also, I'd like to acknowledge our student school board member here, Sabrina. And Sabrina, you are from Peoria High. All right. So welcome. Is there anything you'd like to say? Hello. We certainly want to thank all of our student board members as well. All right, moving on to announcements. Mr. Wilson.
Thank you, President Murphy. Reminder, this Wednesday, August 30th, will be a half day for students. Schools normally ending at 2:30 p.m. will end at 10:30 a.m. Schools normally ending at 3:30 p.m. will end at 11:30 a.m. There is no school for Valeska Hinton students on Wednesday.
STEM opportunity, attention 4th through 12th grade parents and students. Bradley University has opened its registration for the DAP CEP program. It's designed to give students opportunities to further explore passions around STEM-related fields. Visit dapcep.asapconnected.com for more information or to register. The program takes place from September 9th to October 7th.
Good evening, everyone. All schools and the offices will be closed on Monday, September 4th, in observance of Labor Day. No school on Monday.
Ms. Costick.
Immunizations and physicals reminder. Excuse me. Students must fulfill their state-required physical and immunization requirements as soon as possible. Make an appointment with your healthcare provider or take advantage of the Carl Health in-school clinics at Peoria High School, Manual High School, and Tree Wind School. Thank you.
Good evening. PTO Council meeting. Our first PTO Council meeting of the school year will be held on Tuesday, August 29th at 6 p.m. in the District Office Media Room. Don't miss important updates and initiatives happening district-wide. All parents are welcome to the PTO Council meeting.
This is a reminder that fall break is from October 9th to the 20th for all schools except Valeska Hinton and Knoxville Center. Both of those schools will be on fall break from the 2nd to the 20th. Fall session for all schools will be held the 19th through the 13th. Also, New Beginnings Worship Center is holding their 14th annual Back to School Festival and Health Fair on August 12th, 2023. They give away school supplies, backpacks, bikes, clothing, along with free dental and physical work, physicals, and more. ICC was on site for student registration. They gave away 1,200 food cards from McDonald's and other vendors. Petting zoos, horses, and bouncy houses were there for kids.
Everything is possible. Our first mindset within the newly adopted 7 Mindset curriculum is Everything is Possible. Until September 8th, students, staff, and parents will be exploring different ways to dream big, embrace creativity, think positively, and act and adjust.
Register for PPS Fall Break Learning Session. Registration is open for the 2023 Fall Break Learning Session. The Fall Learning Session is a fun and interactive learning opportunity for all PPS students over the first week of fall break. Breakfast, lunch, and transportation are provided. Go to psd150.org/fall to register by September 15th. Thank you to all the board members for those announcements and to Halima for getting those ready for us. Thank you. All right, we're going to move on now to awards and recognitions. We don't have any today. Okay, moving on to Student Showcase. Halima, if you'd like to present for Beauty and the Beast.
I would love to invite up to the stage Katie Jones. They have a short presentation. I'm not going to say very much, but as you can see, they're a very bright bunch.
We coordinated our clothing tonight well, too. We didn't know. Thank you so much for allowing us to be here this evening. We have some handouts that are our programs from our recent performance. So Brenna's going to help hand out that one. Make sure that everybody are taking one and passing this, please. Okay. So I'll say a few words about our Holly Wild Drama Club, and then I'll give the youth that are here tonight a chance to speak with you. Next slide. Who's helping with that? Okay. So the Holly Wild Drama Club started out when a local student tried out for a play, Abigail Green, and didn't make the play. So she said, I'm going to start my own drama club. And so she did that. And that group practiced in the backyard at the Greens' home, and eventually it grew and grew. And this is Sarah Allen, who has been our youth director for the last several years. She's a recent Richwoods graduate, currently a college student. And Michael Mears is one of the 2 little pigs from last year's Into the Woods performance. And so in the past few years, we've been recruiting and bringing in new leaders, choreographers, AV tech leads, and directors. They're all youth. All of the leaders are youth. So the parents just are kind of in the background making sure that the t-shirts get printed and things like that. But the youth are completely involved in all creative decisions. Next slide. The club started in 2015, and we moved from the backyard to Keller Grade School. So thank you to the district and to Keller Grade School for hosting us for several years. Took a hiatus, of course, in 2020, and then in 2021, we were able to perform at Richwoods, which was a great opportunity. Last year, we performed just across the street at First English Lutheran Church, and then this year, we collaborated with Art Inc. We're always looking to expand and grow outside of our neighborhood, so to speak. So when we first started, it was really just the kids from the neighborhood. They would ride their bikes and go to practice, but it has expanded, so now it's kids from all over the city, parochial, homeschooled, and public school students, mostly from Peoria Public Schools, though. Next slide. Some of the shows that our group has performed are shown for you here. Most recently, we just did Beauty and the Beast. We have Maurice, and right here, this is Micah Regan, who performed as Maurice in that play, and Bryn was a villager and narrator. Lily was Madame Ran Labouche, the wardrobe. And then Naomi Torreson was our youth choreographer, chief bottle washer, fix it if it's broken, help, what do we do, Naomi? Person. She was fantastic. Next slide. So there's a really kind of hard to see, but a picture of our cast at Art Inc., where we just had our performance on August 18th and 19th. And we had sold out shows of 150 max capacity in that beautiful auditorium. Of course, used to be Greeley School and is now being really well utilized by Art Inc. So we're really excited to get to do that there this year. The building is not 100% ADA accessible, so that was a bit of a limitation for us because we do need that for our cast members. So we learned and we're growing, and so we're always looking for new collaborative partners and opportunities to partner with Peoria Public Schools for opportunities to expand this to all of our youth. I am personally a Peoria High graduate. No offense to my Richwoods children and friends here, but we would really like to involve students in the youth leadership opportunities from all the schools. Next slide. Okay, so now I'm going to give Naomi Torreson, our youth choreographer, a chance to say a word, and then any of the youth that want to say anything or answer any of your questions about the Holly Wild Drama Club.
Hi, my name is Naomi Torreson, and I'm a senior at Richwoods. This was a very, very cool opportunity for me. As a dancer and a theater lover myself, I really enjoyed being a part of my community and watching these kids grow. I'm so incredibly proud of them. And I think it has helped me grow in both leadership, but also I have this cool opportunity that I've done, and I've really enjoyed it.
My name is Lily, and I'm currently a freshman at Richwoods High School. I've been doing Holly Wild Drama Club since I was I think I was 6 or 7. And one thing I really like about this drama club is that it is a smaller drama club, and theater is a very big part of Peoria, with lots of other community theaters and children's community theaters around Peoria. But because this one is smaller, it focuses a lot more on the younger kids and the older kids, and it's really all ages. And also everyone makes into the shows, everyone is accepted into the shows, so it's a good community, and we really help each other out.
Hi, I'm Bryn, and I'm a 5th grader at Reservoir Gifted Academy. I really enjoy Holly Wild because I've always gotten a role that's fun, and I don't have to worry about auditions because I know a lot of the people, and it's just calm. And I really enjoy all the shows because I get to make new friends and then also see other people that don't go to my school, and it's a lot of fun.
Hi, my name is Micah. I I'm an 8th grader at Reservoir Gifted Academy. And what I really like about Holly Wild Drama Club is that it doesn't matter if you like singing or if you just want to be a smaller role. They always accept you, and they always like ask you what you want to do in the tryouts. They don't mind if you mess up anything. They always find you the perfect role. And I think theater is very important in like any sort of arts because I think it provides like a great mental, and I've really enjoyed it. I'm not really into it as much as I used to, but I still enjoy coming back every summer to participate with Holly Wild. And that's all I have to say.
All right. Does anybody have any questions for the students or any ideas about ways we could collaborate?
So I just wanted to say thank you for doing this. I know living over in that area, you've always been a huge champion for this program, and I remember you coming to our PTO meetings at Keller and just trying to get people involved in this, so you're doing a great job. And obviously, we'd love to continue to help support that to grow. Seeing some of the kids' names, I see the program here. I recognize a lot of these names, and the feedback I got from the community that went and saw this program said that this was an amazing production of Beauty and the Beast. So you guys did really well with that. So next, I just say, let the board know whenever you're getting ready for another show. Send us an email and invite us out.
Okay, terrific. We will do that, and also we will put out an APB to all of the high school leadership, like probably through the arts program director at the schools when we get ready to recruit the youth leaders. The youth leaders are given a stipend. We are not a nonprofit, we're just a club, but we do some fundraising, and the kids can get like $100 to $250 in the summer at the end of the summer. So it's not exactly a summer job, but it's great to put on their resume and their college applications, and it helps since they spend so much time with the kids. So. Okay. Thanks again. We're really honored to be here, and we'll keep you posted.
One thing, we have one more
One
comment
more
here.
question or comment?
Okay, so I noticed you said that you were a Peoria High graduate, and that's why I currently attend.
Yes.
I know that my school has an extensive theater program. Like, they take it very seriously there. So, and I see you guys do a lot with Richwood. So I was wondering if I don't know what we would have to go through to make this work, but have you thought about collabing with PSA, like theater students?
Definitely. So our only barrier really has been just making contact with the right people. Sarah made presentations, I believe, to all 3 schools last year, but we've really focused on Richwoods because that's kind of where it started. But especially as we branch out throughout the city, we want kids to come and audition from wherever they are. We were worried a little bit about like transportation. If we had kids who audition who are from one end of town, how would we get them to practices? We practice at a church on Mount Holly Road, the Mount Holly Community Church. But we said, you know what? It takes a village, and we're all in this together, and we're always giving each other rides and helping each other out anyway. So we don't want things like transportation to be a barrier. And we could even, like we were planning to do auditions at Art Inc. and at the church so that we can make sure to broaden that. So I would say we'll connect after this meeting, and I'll get your name from Halima, if that's okay. And then we just need to be in touch with the right person at Peoria High School. I know that we've spent our welcome here a little bit going over our 3 minutes, but thank you so much for the great questions and comments. It's wonderful to see everybody. Thank you for all you do for all of our families all the time.
Thank you. Get a picture. And are there any family members of the students that are up here? If you would please stand. Yeah. Thank you for all your support too. All right. We're moving on. So Halima, you don't need to go anywhere. We're going to do community contributions for the New Beginning Worship Center.
Thank you very much. It is a great honor to recognize Pastor Brown and the New Beginnings Worship Center. This last August 12th, 2023, they held their 14th annual Back to School Festival, and they've been holding it since 2009, and since then, they have given away school supplies, backpacks, bikes, free physicals, dental care, And this year, they even had ICC on site during their event, registering students for school, and over 1,200 food carts from McDonald's and other vendors. So they have a long-standing commitment to getting our students not only ready to go back to school, but making it an enjoyable process and getting them excited to start that new school year. So without further ado, I would like to invite Pastor Brown to say a few words, and then we will present him with his Community Contribution Award.
Good evening, everyone, and distinguished board and everyone that is here. It's our pleasure always at our church, New Beginnings Worship Center, to be a part of community. And this is what we've been about since we established ourselves in that community. One of the things that we talked about this past festival, when we're talking to the media, we're talking about how churches has a big responsibility to be a part of their community. We have to engage in our community. There's so much going on that is affecting our city, affecting our kids, students, and working together and collaborating with not only just the schools themselves, but also different entities, medical entities, community organizations is what it's all about. And we have to work together as a village to affect some of the problems that are going on, even in our city, even in our communities, and working together and doing what we do to impact the lives of a lot of the children. And I don't think you may not know this, but it was not only just our Peoria district that came out. We had people that came from Tazewell, Woodford counties as well, and other counties that came in. We put the word out that we're going to help anybody that needs help. Any children, any families that needed help, they could come in. And so we got families from those outer counties as well. And normally when we do certain things in our community, we've always gotten people from outside of the Peoria County area because the need is great. And so one of the big things that we're continuing to do, and we want to do, even work even more with the school board, collaborating on different other things and how we can impact, looking at the violent issues that are going on in our city, and a lot of different other needs that are there. We are sitting and have schools that are sitting in food deserts. Kids are coming to school hungry because of the fact that there's different problems that are at home. The mental health issues, a lot of different things that are going on. Me being certified in that area, working in the hospital as well for over 30 years, we see a lot of different things that we have to cross borders with to help students and families. But it's a privilege to be here with you, be here with this board and everyone that is here. We're in the community to help, and that's what we're here to do. Thank you.
Thank you.
Wait, I'm gonna take a photo.
Well, I certainly want to thank you all for everything that you're doing for the community and continue to do. All right. She's getting a picture.
Thank you very much.
Moving on to district presentations. Up next, we have Dr. Chris Reynolds for Power of Sport Initiative.
Hello, everybody, and thank you for having us. And I'm going to stick to my time restriction. But first of all, I just want to thank Dr. Karat and board members for giving us this opportunity here with Peter Davis, Assistant AD at Bradley for Academics and Student Development. Just to echo a couple of the comments that were provided here, Katie, right here, her mom, Becky Jones, it was like a second mom to me. Board member Chase Claus, he's been very instrumental in my own children's academic educational development. I'm a graduate of Peoria High School. My children, one went to Rolling Acres, one went to Reservoir Gifted Academy. They both graduated from Richwoods High School. And so on the topic of it takes a village, and I'm here because of a village. My children have been benefited by a village. I'm all about Peoria High, and Peoria Public Schools, and that brought me here today. I came to town 8 years ago to work at Bradley University, but the reason why I'm here today is why I came back. To be able to help our community, the community in which I was raised, and have given me so much. We started the Power of Sport initiative. I say we started, the idea came about a couple months ago. Peter and I had the opportunity to present before all the primary and middle school principals with Peoria Public Schools on a couple of occasions to talk with them about this initiative. It's the only one of its kind that has 100% participation of our athletics department student athletes. Over 200 student athletes will be involved in this initiative with the 20 primary and middle schools. We're going to divide our student athlete population into 20 teams of at least 10 student athletes on each team. And so each team will be involved throughout the academic year from the beginning to the end in the Peoria Public Schools. We wanted to present this to you all today. The next step will be to reach out to those principals individually. Peter's going to assemble a team to help us with that. And we are going to tailor our service to those schools based upon their needs. We're going to ask them what they want, what they need. We're going to be tutors, we're going to be mentors, we're going to be teachers' aides. Whatever they need, we're going to provide. And so we're really excited about this opportunity. We call it a transformative and immersive inclusion into these schools, involvement, engagement, whatever you want to call it. We have student athletes from 17 countries and from states all around the United States of America. And so they'll be able to immerse themselves in the schools and be able to provide a profound effect and an assistance to our teachers and our principals. We're also, in addition to the tutoring, mentoring, teachers' aides, whatever those principals and teachers need, we're going to, and this is based upon these student athletes rising to the occasion. We don't want to give them anything. We want to incentivize good behavior, being all about, wanting to learn, want to be helped. For those that do that, which we hope is 100% of the 3rd through 6th graders, and that's the population we're going to focus on, we're going to provide them with a t-shirt. And we're in the process of designing a t-shirt that'll say Power of Sport Initiative and Bradley University. And the initiative really isn't about sport. Sport is just a platform, a tool that we're going to use to be able to influence these young people's lives. But we're going to provide a free pass to all of our sporting events except for men's basketball. For men's basketball, we'll provide 2 opportunities once this first semester, we call it semester's over, so it's between mid-December or so to mid-January, 2 opportunities for these students to come to a Bradley men's basketball game where we'll recognize them at center court. We're going to provide them t-shirts to wear when they come to the Bradley men's basketball game, but also we're going to provide them passes not only for the students, but for their family members as well. So they can come free of charge to all sports, with the exception of men's basketball. Throughout the entire school year, we have 15 sport programs, and then for those 2 men's basketball games, we'll provide passes for those students, and then they can bring their family members as well, free of charge. That way, when they come to the game, we can talk with their parents, encourage the young person. They'll have their t-shirt on. We can speak to the young person, encourage them that way. Our student athletes will be there. We'll be able to just give a pep talk to the young man or woman and be able to encourage them to continue to do great things. But we're really excited about this opportunity. We presented to our entire student athlete population this, and they're very excited about it. That's phase 1. Phase 2, and we'll see how phase 2 comes along, whether it be this year, next year, the year after. We want to make sure we get phase 1 down really well, but phase 2 will be bringing these students to Bradley University where we can immerse them into a campus environment. I wish something like this was around when I was growing up. I didn't know what college was until I was in the 9th grade. I went and spoke to our guidance counselor, Bruce Boyle. He talked about college. I wish somebody would have told me in the 3rd grade that there was college. I wish when I was growing up in Peoria, Illinois, when I would drive up and down Main Street, that behind those buildings at Bradley University were students walking around with backpacks. I never knew that. And I drove down that street a million times. But to be able to introduce young people to college, what it's about, put those seeds in their mind. Also, we want to talk with them about goal setting and help them to reimagine what their lives could be. And so we plan to do that, be able to walk them around campus, but not only that, show them what a biology lab looks like. Show them what, if you want to be a nurse, hear what we do in terms of teaching and training our students in terms of how to be a nurse and things of that nature, but walk them through the different majors we have at the university, walk them around campus, and again, talk about goal setting. And so I don't know of another program in the country that involves 100% of their student athletes in the Peoria public school system to be able to impact lives such as we're about to endeavor to do. But we are incredibly, incredibly excited about this opportunity. We feel a responsibility and obligation to be involved in the community. And I'm just grateful for the opportunity, grateful for Dr. Karat's leadership at Peoria Public Schools, and grateful to you all for listening to me tonight. And so this is what we're really excited about. Over 3,200 students that we'll be able to impact in their environments, in their schools. And then we're going to be working on a program to bring all 3,200 of those students to our campus. We won't do it all in one day. You know, we'll do it maybe, we'll designate some weeks and bring them, you know, we'll figure that out as we jog along here, but that's going to be phase 2. But we're really excited. And if we can just help one of those student athletes or students, just like somebody helped me along the way, I just believe that it's going to make a difference in somebody's life. So thank you very much. I appreciate you all, and go Braves.
Thank you. Back by any of the board members? Yes.
I almost want to clap, dance, because what I know is to educate a child, we want to raise whole students. And not only do they need the academic part, but they need social skills, and they need to be able to feel connected to their neighborhood and to things in Peoria. And so thank you, because there are some kids who may not have that opportunity, as a lot of parents can't afford team sports and travel teams because it can be very costly. But this is a great opportunity to broaden their mindset and to make them global thinkers and not just thinking 61606, but just to think outside of the box. So thank you so much for this.
No, thank you for that. And another thing that I've learned, you know, Mr. Claus, he works with my children. Sometimes they listen to him more than they listen to me, right? And our student athletes will be able to echo a lot of the things that the teachers are talking about and reinforce those things. And sometimes it takes another voice. And so just really excited about that as well.
Your kids are listening to Chase more than they listen to you?
Chase is a sharp guy. He really is.
Okay,
really
that's
sharp
awesome.
Guy.
And they've excelled.
I'm just dad.
Yeah, I mean,
Did you coach Olivia? Did you coach Olivia? And she made state. So
that's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah, I'd just like to echo and say thank you very much for this opportunity. I love that you're having the students earn those T-shirts and those passes, those courtside seat passes that I saw on there for the thing. But no, I think that's important that they earn those and that they show that kind of commitment to the program. And I just want to say thank you for that.
And we also want their parents to come, or whoever is
their parents
them
will be
along
there
as well, because we want to be able to encourage them as well.
Sure.
And so I'm excited about that.
All right. Well, thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Pratt, did you have something you'd like to add?
I just wanted to thank Dr. Reynolds. I mean, he's a huge, a big star for PPS. As he said, he graduated from Peoria High and has a doctorate and a law degree. We're really very, very proud of him. And the principals were very excited. He's right. He spoke to them twice. And it's targeted for grades 3 through 6. So we're ready to get started. Anything you need from us, let us, but it's good. I love that story, and I was going to ask you to share it with the board when you talk about driving back and forth on Main Street, not knowing what was really behind those buildings as a kid from Peoria. So you're opening that and you're saying, hey, I've been through this, and it wasn't really good. It was very narrow, and I want to expand opportunities for students in Peoria. So thank you so much, Dr. Reynolds.
Thank you very much.
Looking
for
forward
your
to the
time.
collaboration.
I look forward to it as well.
Up next, we have Dr. Susan Gersnich on Violence Prevention Grant. Good evening.
President Murphy, Vice President Ranking, Board, Dr. Karat, thank you for giving us a few minutes just to share about a new grant that we received. This is through the city's Violence Prevention Grant Program. We received just under $300,000. We could have written for $400,000, but we focused on what we felt were critical areas of improvement that we could bring to the district. The nice thing about this grant is it gives us an opportunity to try some things differently and then see how it goes. And then, of course, we try to learn from our grants and then expand those things into other programs. So we have 3 strategies in our grant. The first is going to be led by Dr. Bond, and that is to provide counseling for families, specifically to students. Actually, we'll get into some details in just a minute. Strategy 2 is to create our own violence prevention resources for classrooms so that they're biased by our staff to support our students. And then strategy 3 is to provide extra days of reading intervention, and that will be led by our coordinator, Mrs. Amanda Brown. Okay, so strategy 1 will focus on just about 50 students, primary age, that have demonstrated through disciplinary procedures that they have behaviors that could use some support. The idea with this is we looked at our data and we saw a high incidence of more of aggressive behaviors with younger students, and we felt like if we could target sooner supports to the student that they get during the day, and then also give parents and families options for their own counseling in the evenings, that would be kind of a unique take and a unique opportunity that we could provide to families. It would be their choice, of course, whether or not they did participate in that. Our strategy 2 is to create a violence prevention resource kit, so to speak, in targeting grades 2, 3, 5, 7 in high school. Try to make sure that our teachers will help put this together, but have it be turnkey presentations and activities they can use to discuss and address different topics in the classroom, but also that students might face outside of the school. This is kind of along the lines, if you remember, the DARE program and the GREAT program. So it's similar, but because it's embedded in the classroom, teachers will be able to somewhat personalize it as well if they would like. And then our last is to pay for additional instructional days for students that are struggling readers. We found, looking at discipline records, that many of the students that were demonstrating high discipline behaviors, especially more on the violence side, were students that had struggled with reading. And so we thought, okay, again, let's get in there early in the primary grades. Let's get more kids reading at higher levels. And what we know is when a student is successful in school, they have more opportunities and more decisions. So we thought, let's approach this situation early on with giving kids extra time, because we know not every student learns in the exact same amount of time. I have another slide. I was told to keep it short, so I kept it short. So if you have specific questions for any of our leads, you can ask anything.
So,
go ahead.
Yeah, just one quick question. So who would be providing the counseling? Does the grant specify who provides the counseling?
Dr. Vaughn, you want to address that? Yeah. It's professionals that have had family. You can come up. I was trying to kill time for you to get up here.
Right, so it's
LCPCs, so they have the specialized license to serve families, if that makes sense.
So do they seek out the district if they want to be a part of that, or do you already target those who would be providing the counseling?
Yep, so it will be posted, so it'll be a posted position, so anybody can certainly reach out and say, hey, I'd like to be a part of that.
Okay, thank
It could
you.
be multiple people.
Yeah.
A lot of different.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So I love, the idea of being able to serve up to 4,500 students. Let's hope we can get to all 4,500 students. But I love the piece specifically about the reading intervention piece for the 80 students. And I would love to have an update on what the intentional instruction is going to be for those 80 students to get on point for reading, because that's obviously something that we've really got to try to help and work around. And it sounds like this is a grant that's going to allow us to do that. So I would, as a board member, I would love to have an update on how those 80 students are doing with that intervention on reading. So
Sure. We'll be tracking data throughout. Ms. Brown is excellent with data, so
Sure.
I'm sure that won't be a problem.
Okay.
And I would like to add to President Murphy.
But Ms. Ross.
No, apropos to what you were saying, what I was going to ask was the extra 25 days. How would you provide that extra 25 days? Is that in addition to, since we started school early, in addition to the longer school year?
We're going to try to take advantage, so think of days as hours too, but we'll look at intercessions, both fall and spring intercessions. You've got 10 days. There's opportunities then over the summer as well to do this. So that'll be up to Mrs. Brown to be creative about how to get as much reading support in as possible throughout that time.
Which will include transportation and that kind of thing as well.
We would work all that out, yes.
Thank you.
Yep. Dr. Crott. Okay. All right. Oh, go ahead. Yeah.
So those counselors, the family counselors, if I understood it right, so will they be in-house, like in school, available to students, or will they have to seek them outside of school?
They will not be during the day unless a family arranges to meet with them during the day, and it will all be coordinated through Dr. Bond or whoever she designates to coordinate that. So I would imagine there could be opportunities for during the day, but most of the time it's going to be outside the day.
Because, okay, I feel as a student, so I feel in-house counselors, like, I don't know about middle schools now, but when I was at Lincoln, we only had one. And personally, I don't think one person versus how many kids is just going to be enough. I think that the kids, especially the ones you're trying to help, would benefit more from another additional in-person, in-house counselor. Because a lot of kids, if they search outside resources, sometimes they have to worry about maybe like their parents not agreeing or allowing them to. They have to worry about transportation to those counseling places. And then they have to take time out of their already busy schedules to seek additional counseling. So I just feel it would be more beneficial in-house rather than out.
And Dr. G, just to add to student board member Sabrina, one of the things we've talked a lot about because of the shortage, and Dr. Bond, we've talked about an opportunity for tele support as well, and that could help, thinking outside the box and still providing the service, because we know we've had some positions posted for 2 years, but there are different strategies that can be utilized. Sabrina, does that make sense? Yep, thanks. Thank you.
All right. Well, don't go anywhere, Dr. Gersnich, because now you're going to be up on the City Kids competition.
Yes, so this is City Kids Camp. So about beginning of May, Dr. Crott got a phone call and said, hey, we want to talk to you about a City Kids Camp. And Dr. Crott said, hey, Dr. G, take a meeting. And so we sat down and got to meet, I'm going to have my friends come up here, got to meet with our friend Hector, who is in charge of the City Kids Camp. I'm going to let him share a little bit about what the camp is. And I'm going to have our team introduced here as well, because we did all of this once school was out. So if you know anything about families, it's hard to capture them once they're gone for summer break. But we ended up having 46 kids attend. It was really exciting, and it's located outside of Lewiston, Illinois. So I have some photos that we can show if you want to flip through. You can see all the activities, some of the activities kids got to do. They're just incredible. And I went out early. As you can see, there's the bus ride home in the upper right. A lot of sleeping on that bus. But we want to thank Greg Batten and Steve Jackson, who really did a lot of fundraising that came from individual funders, and then the Gilmore Foundation provided money to the Peoria Public Schools Foundation and matched the funding for this program. So I'm going to turn it over to Hector and let him talk to you a little bit, and then I've got a little something to share.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you for inviting me. And my name is Hector Corona. I come from the Corona beer family, not the virus family, so let me make that perfectly clear. But seriously, we're all parents, and my wife and I, we were just sick and tired of all the violence that's happening in Chicago. We're from Chicago. And either we did something, we do something, or we sit on the sidelines. So for us, sitting on the sidelines was not an option. So what we did is we created a camp 8 years ago in Dixon, Illinois, to just get kids away from the violence. And so we have two programs. One is our summer camp program, and the other one is our weekend program. So last week I had the honor of meeting the mayor of Chicago, the new mayor, Brandon Johnson. And so we were talking about, because he wanted to talk about how do we get kids away from the violence. So we sat down and we talked. And one of the great things about our camp is that we just don't sit around the sidelines. I mean, sit around the campfire and sing songs. We actually talk about delicate issues like police, and we have police talk to the kids about the delicate relationship between minorities and police. We bring in tradesmen to teach the kids a trade. So back in 2020, we were gonna bring 600 kids from Chicago, and the unions were gonna actually create a program where one day they learn carpentry, the next day they learn electrical, just the basics, and then at the end of the week, they pick an apprenticeship. So we need, as parents, we need to guide kids in that direction. Not a lot of kids are gonna go to Bradley, not a lot of kids are gonna go to college because they can't afford it. So we need to teach the kids, we need to guide the kids. So we see our camp as a way to bring kids and to guide them and to do all sorts of things that normally you can't do at schools or do at home. So we feel we have a very unique camp, and we've been doing it for 8 years. We don't have any government funding. We generate most of our money from kind donors and corporations. So it was an honor this year that we brought 500 kids to camp for 3 weeks. And it was an honor to bring 50 kids from Peoria. So hopefully next year we can bring more kids. And our weekend program, we're gonna start doing that in the next couple of weeks. And so our weekend program is super beneficial because the kids get away from the violence on Fridays and Saturdays, which are the most violent days. We have them at camp. We tutor them so they finish their homework. They get fed. So most kids don't eat on weekends or don't eat well on weekends, and then they're in a safe environment, and that's what our camp offers. So, thank you.
And as I was looking for people to give up some of their summer vacation to go, and I remembered somebody who loves kids more than probably anybody I know, and that's Miss Val Blake. So I'm gonna have her come up and talk a little bit, just quickly, about her experience and talk about her team, and they were awesome. Come on in.
Hello. When she said we took 46 kids, we actually had like over 125 that gave interest. We went to all 46 houses and got the permission slip signed, got all paperwork done for all of them. It was myself as the site coordinator for Peoria, and I had a team of 4 champions. Mike Gills, parent advocate at Peoria High, Alonzo Wells, elite, Jonasia White, she's a 101 at Lincoln, and Brianka Robinson, who works at Rise Academy. When I say the kids had a ball, it was a ball. They did everything from paddle boating, fishing, just the place itself was amazing. They got a lot of team building in. It was just a time for them to just be kids. They didn't have to worry about what was going on in their neighborhoods, what was going on at home. When you saw them sleeping, that's because we went at 7 o'clock in the morning and we weren't home till 8:30 that night for 5 days in a row. These kids got up and got it to bus stops. No phones. We asked for their phones immediately. We got a little pushback the first day, but after that, we come around with the basket, they're putting them in. So they didn't even have contact with what was going on back in Peoria. It was awesome for us to see it. We're just looking for the partnership to maybe next time we could do it where we stay over. It was a lot coming back and forth. The kids did it, but it was a lot on us doing the back and forth. Will we do it again? Absolutely. They had an amazing time. Thank you, Dr. Karat, for allowing it. Thank you, Dr. G, for everything. She makes sure if it's something to be done with the kids, she'll make sure she gets the contacts out, and we're going to do it. So thank you again.
I just have a little gift for each of them. It's a picture of the kids at the camp and with just a little sentiment. So.
Nice, yeah.
Wanted to thank Mr. Corona for providing such an amazing facility for refuge for our kids. And of course, our facilitator, Ms. Blake, who was one of our Those Who Excel, amazing librarian at Glen Oak, and one of your champions, Ms. Brown, Ms. Robinson, that's right, Ms. Robinson. But kudos actually goes to Dr. G. I'll tell you, Greg Barton called me, and it was a quick turnaround. I'm like, well, I know I am. I said, Dr. G, I'm not sure. It's a great concept, but the turnaround time seems to be a quick turnaround. And she made it. I said, I'm not sure if you're going to be able to do that. And usually I'm a little bit more optimistic and supportive and, an amazing cheerleader. But Dr. G, I'm also very, very, very proud of you. You really made this happen. And of course, all the sponsors. Greg said, don't worry, we'll do the fundraising. Gilmore Foundation came in and you got staff, and it was unbelievable. I agree. Next time around, having everybody stay over at least for the week, that's a great idea.
I think there were 14 donors that ended up.
14 donors?
They sent their funds to City Kids Camp.
Yeah, so 14 donors from Peoria supported this initiative. So again, thank you, Dr. G, for being the champion and making it happen for the kids. Thanks.
I would say also, let the board know what it would take for that to happen for overnight, what it would take for you guys to need that. We can see what we can do as far as getting more donors and more support for you. Okay? All right. Up next is Chris Render on the Fine Arts Update.
All right, and good evening, everybody. Thank you for having me here today. I'm here to give you just a little update on our performing arts version of our fine arts within the Peoria Public Schools. I guess today I want to start off with our mission, our focus, our vision. This is a vision that I'd like you to take a moment just to absorb that and read. This is what we used to help make some decisions when I met with many of the area band directors to figure out what is going right for Peoria Public School instrumental music and then what needs to be improved upon. So we first, just because the way music educators are and the way these colleagues that I work with are, we needed to have a focus of what drove us to answer some very important questions for what needs to be done to make things practical for us to improve what is happening here in Peoria Public Schools for our instrumental music arts, okay? So we take this to heart. One of the next things that you'll notice is that the first thing is to hire someone to help with the fine arts coordinating, and that's my job now, okay? So this is now the beginning of my second year in this process. It is part-time, as many of you know, that I am also the director of bands at Richwoods High School as well, so I spend part of my day taking care of the Richwoods bands, trying to nurture that program, make sure that it's growing, doing the best that it can, but also to help now to get to the heart. The reason why I really came to Peoria Public Schools was to help all of our music programs thrive in our city. So I take this personally, and so I appreciate the opportunity to help guide our faculty, our students, and our district in this direction. That said, I am not the one that has all the answers, but I am one to facilitate that, help coordinate. So I really try to reach out to my colleagues to try to make this kind of thing happen. One of the things that you want to be aware of is that we took the steps to I took the steps first to meet with all of the current band directors and orchestra directors a couple years ago to see what the issues were, where they thought were the problem areas. I gave them an opportunity to speak candidly with me and on one-on-one, and it was nice to see that we were all kind of thinking the same similar things. So when it was all came down to it, we had similar passions and thoughts about what needed to be done. And it wasn't like it was it's not rocket science kind of things. It came out to be pretty simple thing. The first thing people really want to go to is money, but that's really not what it was. It was about time. We need time to be able to teach the students that we wanted to grow in this arts. And so one of the things that we wanted to do was obviously hire some more educators, but it was really stressful to be able to have educators working 2 schools at one time to help grow that program. So with good coordination and talking with Dr. Wilson and Dr. Crott to make this kind of thing happen, we got the opportunity to hire some new band and orchestra directors. It's not exactly the number that we were shooting for, but it's better than where we were before. So we're taking advantage of that to the best of our ability. So now you'll notice that some of the band directors, they're new teachers, first of all. They're new teachers not only to the industry of music education, but also to Peoria Public Schools. We have some returning, we have teachers that are from other school districts that are taking their time here in Peoria. So it's been a win-win situation. We still have work to do in hiring new positions. We still want to fill positions. We know there are 2 middle schools that still need qualified music educator in the instrumental arts to help grow those programs, to rekindle them, to get them reignited to where they need to be. And we are working very hard to recruit to make that kind of thing happen. And while we're doing that recruiting, we're trying to work on retention. And that's what also part of my coordinating positions is to get out and see our new hires that we have done, to make sure that I'm in check with them for once a week, if not every 2 weeks, to let them know that they're not off on an island by themselves, that I can try to help figure out some of the logistics, the behind-the-scenes things to make them feel as comfortable about not only teaching in education, but teaching here in public schools at Peoria Public Schools. So that's one of the things we've done. If you could go back one more, I'm sorry, getting excited. I appreciate that. Not only do you see that we have some increase in teachers since 2014, we talked about scheduling adjustments. So now we have an opportunity for one music educator to be at that one specific school. You pick one middle school, there's one person there is in charge of band and orchestra for the instrumental arts. That's their goal, that's their job to be focused on, as opposed to 2 programs. The other thing is that now we're instituting this high school directors team half-day mentoring thing that's going on for team teaching. So like what I was already kind of doing at Richwoods, we're sharing it now at Peoria High School as well as Manual High School, where the high school directors not only take care of their program during the day, either in the morning or in the afternoon, but now they go out to their feeder middle schools to help team teach with their music educator who is feeding into their school to help them not only achieve their goal of perfecting their program, that middle school program, helping them grow, but also giving that direct eye contact and and personal connection with the students that soon will hopefully be a part of their band and music program, so that when they make that transition from 8th grade into high school, they have a familiar face that they can look forward to, someone they've gotten used to knowing over at least a year, if not a year and a half, maybe 2, or for some cases 3, where they feel that, oh, well, it's just the next stage, and I get to be in Mr. Baldwin's band next year when I do that, or I get to be in Miss Shepherd's band next year. So we're trying to work on that half-day mentorship. So it is working out so far. We still have so much work to do. This is a new venue for Peoria Public Schools, but it is something that I was accustomed to or noticed from some of the best quality programs in our country of what it takes in order to help have a revitalized and the creative instrumental arts. These are the things that are done. It's team teaching because for many people, they assume that teaching music is, I can teach everybody the same subject in one room. But those of you who have, I'm curious, are there any board members who have been in band before? Okay, so you know that if I'm talking to a clarinet player and then I say the same thing to a tuba player, they're speaking 2 different languages. They're something that's similar, but they're really speaking 2 different languages. And when you have that kind of thing happening at the middle school level and at the high school level, it's important to have that team teaching process. So, for example, at Richwoods, I'm a brass player, I'm a horn player, passionate, still playing, but my colleague, Kylie Hankowski, who is also teaching at Rolling Acres Middle School, is a brilliant oboist, okay? But she handles most of the woodwind things. So our kids know, well, if I have a question, I need to go take care of that woodwind thing. And I know that if I don't know that thing about woodwinds, I can reach out to my colleague who knows that kind of process as well. I take care of a lot of the brass percussion. We team teach. We've worked this out for ourselves. And we're trying to build that very same thing happening at Manual High School and also at Peoria High School. This is the beginning blocks from that. Next slide, please. Thank you. So one of the other things that you want to notice, and I know you're excited to see this because I know I'm excited to show it to you. You won't see it at our Labor Day parade, but I guarantee you'll see it by our Veterans Day parade and also at our Santa Claus parade as we represent Peoria Public Schools bands in our parades. Actually, you'll see us in new uniforms. Now, you knew that, you've probably heard that Peoria High School started this process because their uniforms were in really terrible shape. And it was just not good. And I can tell you that we have been trying to not only address that, but we know that we needed to address it for our other schools as well. I can tell you from Richwoods, we're the owners of a uniform that was the 3rd time owners of making the uniforms that we just had. So these are just small snippets of what the uniforms, the progress that their uniforms were in. And so what we thought was best is how can we best shape up these new uniforms, get us into something of quality that will last for a longer period, and out comes technology that puts us up right in our price point area. It's not the cheapest thing on the thing, but it is right in the middle, and it helps us because these are uniforms now, for those of you who used to be in band, these are now uniforms that can be washed in washing machines. Okay, so we save money in dry cleaning, and I can tell you it makes life a lot easier for band parents who help to make this kind of thing happen. And it took me a long time to come to grips that this is the new direction we are leading to as an industry in music, marching arts. This is just where we're going. So no longer are they creased and put on a hanger or anything. These are literally folded up and put into a bag. I know that sounds weird, but you shake them out, you let them hang, wash them, they're in good shape, ready to go. We have been processing, talking. I had to do a lot of convincing, but we've been looking at this process, and the company has been saying that we can get a good 10 years, which is what the average of a regular marching band uniform at half the price is what we're trying to do. So not only were we just getting coats, we were talking about bib pants, hip capes, hats, shakos, which are not in yet. That's why you won't see it delivered. See us out in our Labor Day parade that's coming up, because they're not delivered here yet. But we have been working very hard to get that here, not only for Richwoods High School, for Peoria High School, but if you could go to the next slide. You also see it for Manual High School and also Elise Ford Allen, our only middle school right now who is representing a marching band. Stephanie Griffin is doing a fantastic job getting that band going for us in that direction. So hopefully you'll see that it's something that we can be proud that you can see that an investment is going in for the fine arts in the bands program. Okay, we know that that's one of your most noticeable things that you're going to see. I've always taken that pride as a band director. One of the most presented things that you're going to see probably is coming from your band program at that respective school. Okay, so we hope that you take advantage of that and something to look forward to. One of the other things that you noticed there in that previous slide, if you can, sorry, I'm going that. We're getting to know each other. The concept of where the stages of recruitment, where students are enrolled. Okay, so I'll give you a second to kind of dissect that a little bit. This is just the first year of really trying to take this information. This is my second year in this position, but my goal is to try to change that high school number. And I feel like we're on that right. If you're looking at 23, 24, and comparing it to 2014, that is going to go up. If it all goes according to plan, that's going to go up if we continue with the system that we're doing, which is investing our time and our money, but mostly our time and commitment to the educators to help recruit for their students, but retain those students to be in the band programs and the orchestra programs. And that retention only comes when a student feels like they are being successful. That success comes when they know they are achieving music at a level that is worthwhile not only for them, but their peers and for their community. We are on the right path to do that. So that's what our goal is to come back. I want to be able to come back to you and see you in a couple of years to be able to show you that high school number is growing, and then that middle school number needs to grow as well. And to fit with that theme that has already been kind of discussed today, this is how we develop the whole child. Okay, so not only is it within our academics, but it's also within the arts. It's also within the athletics. I encourage many of our students at Richwoods to make sure that if they are involved in sports, that they continue with the sport, but we can make a way to make all of these things happen. I believe in that. I make my own children do those things to do that. So this is something I'm very passionate about. There is a way to make it work. There is a way to make it work. Even in college, you do not have to major in music. There's a way to make it work. I'm going to preach that till I can't anymore, okay? There's a way to make music and academics work and cohesively. Thank you. Next slide. Okay, new endeavor that was brought to my attention that I'm so thrilled about. I sat down with Dr. Crott when I was being asked to take over this position was, how can we move forward with this vision of music production? What is a music production lab, you might ask? Well, you understand we all have a vision of what a layman's term is what a music studio looks like. And you expect that to be a guy on the other side, guy or gal on the other side of a mixer board while there's a group inside learning and recording some things there. And that is something this is part of life. This is something that is happening with our industry. It is growing. And one of the things that I thought was really witty, and it's a great idea combined with the vision with Dr. Crott, was to invest into this state-of-the-art production lab, music studio. What we want to do is what you're looking at is it's almost done. I promise, guys, it's almost done. We're getting close here. This is going to be a state-of-the-art music studio that you will all be very proud of once it's all situated with everything in there. We want it to be something that is envious, not only of other schools, but other industry standards in our area. I know that we have worked very hard to create that kind of thing, and it's happening right at Peoria High School. So that space looks really large, and I can't wait till we officially open it, and you can come take a tour. I'm going to challenge you as a board member to come take a moment to look over there. But it is a soundproof room that is set up to be a functioning music studio, okay? Not only with the proper equipment and sound and recording studios, but also satellite rooms in which you can, isolation rooms for different parts of the rhythm section and whatnot. So there's also gonna be, I'm probably still in a little bit of your thunder, but there's also gonna be part of a podcast section. We're looking at all facets of it, music production, because unfortunately, well, not unfortunately, it is just the way it is in our world. Music production is more than just hitting the recording button of the artist. Now we have to talk about the business side of things, the visual element of it. And sometimes you have to be your self-promoter. Sometimes you have to talk about your product to others to get them to come aboard. And podcasting is one of those things. This is a class that's going to offer this. Now, you might ask, okay, well, do you need a major in order to do that? This is one of the beautiful things about this production lab, this studio thing. We wanted to produce a course that was going to be where set up students who took it where they could gain a vocational skill in the music industry. So if college was not for them, they could jump into still in the music industry and still be invested, just like a welder or a carpenter. And we wanted to offer that kind of thing in the Peoria Public Schools, and to do it at Peoria High School was the wisest idea to make that happen. So that's one of the things and functions that we wanted to promote here. And I'm gonna, if you go to the next slide, tell you a little bit about this class by introducing to you our new choir teacher at Peoria High School, but also the new instructor for the music production lab, Mr. Jack Mellon.
Thank you. Like I said, my name is Jack Mellon. I'm the new choir teacher at Peoria High School in Von Steuben, and I'm also teaching this new production course. Just to be clear about what I mean by music production, it's a lot of folks have an idea of music producers as, like you said, sitting behind a soundboard and just that's their entire job, making beats or hitting the record button on professional artists. Now, that is definitely the case. Lots of music producers make their living doing just that. But many, I might say most, people who consider themselves producers make most of their living or much of their living doing stuff that is not very, very isolated in that, very specifically that music production thing, area. They also do things like record jingles for commercials or make podcasts or record audiobooks. There's a really wide field of skills that music producers take on. Foley artists, like making soundtracks for movies or sound effects for movies, things like that. And so the course that we have started and that we will continue to work with during this for this course will include lots of different aspects of music production. This course will be a project-based course, and each project will build on top of the previous one to in service of skill acquisition, so that any student who takes this course will build a large, broad range of skills, marketable skills, vocational skills, that will help them enter the industry in whatever way they see fit. If they want to go the really narrow music production route, make beats, make pop songs, great. They will have lots of experience doing that. If they want to go into the technical aspect, where they're setting up microphones and speakers and stuff for live performances, they will have plenty of experience doing that. And if they want to do record some podcasts, edit the sound of those podcasts, they'll be able to do that too. I can answer any more specific questions about the courses as it comes up. But yeah, I want to keep it pretty brief because I am nervous. Anyway, thank you, friends.
We could have.
And if you don't mind, I'm sorry, indulge you, if you can indulge. Oh, did you have a question regarding that?
No, I was just going to ask you if you could send that to us, just so the PowerPoint, and then for the sake of time, we appreciate all of your information and your detail, but it's approaching 8 o'clock and we
Yes,
still
ma'am.
got a lot of other things. So if you could send that to us, and we thank you for your time and your effort, and it looks great, but we just want to respect like everybody's time tonight.
That's my first time doing it with you guys, so I
Okay, thank
apologize.
you.
Just want to make sure it's efficient. So
Yeah,
there is
thank
much more information to be excited about, but there are things that are happening, and I appreciate you guys taking the time today.
Right,
One
thank
second
you.
before you hop off there, Mrs. Ross.
Mr. Renner, I just want to make sure that we thank, because I was the one who was part of the acceptance of the grant, the state grant, Representative Jahan Gordon Booth made it possible for us to do this this whole program at Peoria High.
Well,
So
we
we
thank
wanna
you, and
make-
you hope you're going to be super proud of it when it's all
Yes,
done.
and so I want to make sure that we know that she has been a great supporter of Peoria Public Schools.
Thank
And
Thank
I,
you.
I had a quick question as
Mr.
well
Wilson?
too. Just on this fine arts topic, I think you mentioned that you did kind of have a meeting with the different encore directors and fine arts committees heads and things of that nature. How is that relationship, and is that relationship culminating into this overall project? Like, it is a collaborative piece with all parties together putting this out?
So we're not done with the presentation yet. I was going to do the budget part. So if we can go back one slide and then I'll turn it over to
Yeah,
Mr.
if we
Remy.
could
Is
just
that
be
okay? I'll go quickly.
Yeah, just be mindful of the time because it's almost 8 o'clock.
So the recording studio that Mr. Render referenced, and we're very, very fortunate to have him, Peoria Public Schools, with us. He's an amazing band director. We're working with Illinois Central College, Sheila Quirk-Bailey, the president, and the board. I know Carl Cannon is very, very interested in taking that recording, that class, and articulating with Illinois Central College to add a dual credit piece to it. So they're very excited and they cannot wait. So Ms. Seipel, here's some, part of this presentation is to show that Peoria Public Schools is really investing and is serious regarding investing in the arts. And so all of this work, you can see that instrument inventory plan that Mr. Renda put together. And I sent the presentation, I believe I sent the presentation to the board last week. But so you can see those, it's amazing what he's done. And then next steps for instrumental performing arts, you can read that as well. I think the big piece, as he said, is increasing student participation in the middle schools. That's a big goal for you and your team. So let's go on to the next slide. And you went to Washington, D.C. You want to talk about that quickly? Because it's all about the trips as well, right? And performances.
So all I will say is that this is our first time to actually get us on a band trip. And I only didn't get to take the entire band, but members who could participate. We could to take a trip to Washington, D.C., not only to just see the sights and sounds of Washington, but also take part of all the musical events that are possible there. I have some connections with some people within the Marine Band and the Air Force Band, and these pictures are not enough. All I can tell you is that I was 30 yards away from Joe Biden. That's a picture of him and the Marine Band, and there's no safer place in the world to be than watching the Marines on their base. 500 Marines, as well as about 250 Secret Service members and snipers everywhere. So it was a fantastic time, and I would encourage, if you've met anybody from Richwood, to reach out for them on that. And then finally, I would just say, to get to the experiences, I want to try to encourage our other schools to be joining up with us so that we can do more experiences for what makes band and orchestra for those things, and because it's not just in the classroom. So that's one of the things that we want to do. And then finally, if I may, to answer Board Member Wilson, your question, from saying it right, in full disclosure and all honesty, yes, there is definitely tension, but I am a part of my colleagues, and I'm working to bridge that gap so that we can have open communication within that. To do some of those are happening because of that direct connection right now, talking to them individually, allowing them to know that what we're trying to do, showing them that you tell me a problem, I'm going to do my best to get to it. I can't guarantee you get all of it, but we're establishing a connection to be able to make that happen. And it is one of the many goals to try to help fix our communication amongst our fine arts so that we can all work together as a group to move together as an ensemble.
Yeah, absolutely. Appreciate that. And I wasn't aware of any tension. I think that was just a question that I had. But I don't think this plan comes together unless you figure out a way to ease any tensions. People have to be involved, especially people that have a passion for this. And pretty much everybody wants the same goal.
Correct.
So I would definitely make that a primary, because this isn't going to happen without that type of collaboration.
Agreed.
So as we can see, investment in fine arts program, the district has spent over $5 million with fine arts program last year and this year. Michelle, I would like you to see, I wanted you to see exactly the line items and as it relates to those expenditures. So the music studio that Ms. Ross mentioned, a big thank you to Representative Johan Gordon Booth, who made that happen. And this is amazing. It's still coming together very close to the end. We have a new teacher who's also assisting with that. You just heard from him. The splash pad as well, a one-time project. And then you can see the other line items, fine art supplies, how much was invested in that area, instruments, more than $500,000, and you talked about bringing in outsiders to really do that work instead of teachers doing it on their own. And so you can see the uniforms, the cost of the uniforms for all 4 schools. The fine arts coordinator, he's part-time because he was late this evening because he was out with his kids, still doing the work. The curriculum, PD, it included PD, you wanted PD, I put that in there for you, and then competitions as well. So just wanted the board to see, I mean, again, the big story is over $5 million. And I wanted to share the splash pad. There's been a lot of conversations about the splash pad. It was a one-time project. It had to be innovative, not supplanting anything. We couldn't use it for any of the things that we've mentioned before, so it's coming along. I think I sent you pictures as well to give you a realistic picture of what I drove by there today, to just kind of show you the progress that's being made. You know, there's lots of lighting that will be, I think it's going to augment that community, that area. There's lighting there, there's a wall, there's going to be signage. So if there's bad business going on there, I suspect it will go away to another area. But do we have anything else? I think that's it. But this is just, again, an update for you from Mr. Renda and the team regarding the district's investment in the fine arts. Is that it, Michelle? Thank you, Ms. Seipel. And I'll turn it back over to you. You have anything to say? You're good? You're good? All right. And I need to say congratulations to Mr. Renda. He was recognized last week. Well, I'll add that to my superintendent update. But that's it, board. Thank you.
All right.
And just real quick, I just want to say thank you,
you.
both of you, for your time and for the
Thank
update.
you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah,
And is there any plan to bring back the magnet school? Because that really did work.
Yeah, it is. That's why they have new uniforms as well.
The magnet portion of the school. Okay.
We are in discussions, I can tell you that.
Okay,
I'm not prepared to give you a yes or a no. I can just say that we're in discussions of it. But I know that we are trying to revitalize all aspects of it in the instrumental arts on that.
All right, thank you.
All right.
So I'd like to say thank you for your presentation today. I know that there is a member who normally does audience participation who will be extremely happy to hear that we have a uniform for the marching band, and I think we all know who I'm speaking of. He goes to all of the parades, and he will be very excited, as we all will, to see these new uniforms. And I love that you guys thought outside the box, because as a former band member, those were hot and heavy in the summer times. They were okay in the wintertime, you know, that 1 or 2 performances we had. But these seem like they'll be a great alternative. So I'm excited to see how they're going to be able to take care of it. So thank you.
Thank you.
Yep. All right, moving on to the next portion. Presentation by audience. Per board policy 2-230, an individual may address the board at this time for no more than 5 minutes, with further time allotted as appropriate at the discretion of the chair and with concurrence of the majority of the board. Total time on any one subject shall not exceed 20 minutes, only at the discretion of the chair and with the concurrence of the majority of the board. Each speaker will fill out a request to speak to the Board of Education card and present it to the board secretary before the meeting begins. And am I correct, we just have one this evening? All right, up we have Hetty Elliott.
Hello, thanks for having me. Hetty Elliott Gardner, teacher, taxpayer, former parent, but now my students have graduated, or my children have graduated. I'm here tonight to speak in opposition of the Teacher Ready program. As I understand, it's computer modules. Probably you read something and you take some multiple choice tests. I think our kids in Peoria Public Schools deserve a lot better than that. I understand that there's a shortage. I'm well aware of it. But what I haven't seen is any questions or any forums with teachers. We have 1,000 of them in the district, and probably who have many innovative ideas. I have 1 million, I'll tell you that. And one of my missions in life and is to offer education for free, right? So I don't believe that money is always the answer to everything. And I think that we have a lot of talent in Peoria Public Schools. I think if we got a group of diehard educators together, we could come up with some really cool, innovative ways to tackle the teacher shortage and the staff shortage without money. And I think that's a quick fix. I think that pushing people through really fast just to have a warm body in the classroom, it's hard. It's a tough job, and people can't just walk in there and make the magic happen. You have to, as an individual, spend years in college and years in the community to make all of that really happen. And just to push somebody through and pay several $1,000s to me to probably get a garbage product, right? It's kind of like a bootleg version of college. I understand that there are people with degrees and we want to speed up the process, but we do have Grow Your Own, and that's a rigorous program, and it's producing quality candidates. So we already have that program, and I'm greatly opposed to spending the taxpayers' money on something like this when the teachers haven't even been asked for any input. So I would encourage you to vote against this program, and I would encourage you to talk to educators in the district, all throughout the district, and see if we can come up with some innovative ideas that will tackle this shortage. And I'll tell you, if you look at the school district doesn't look very different than it did for me, 45 years ago. So we're not doing a good job with innovation. And I think Peoria deserves better, and I think the students in Peoria Public Schools deserves better. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much for that. Dr. Crott, is there a response to audience presentation?
Thank you, President Murphy. Do we have online? I'd ask Sarah to join us online. Yes? Sarah, are you online?
Yes, ma'am, I am.
So I
Good
would like-
evening, everyone.
Yes, I'm going to give you my time to share with the board what this initiative is all about.
Of course, yep. Thank you so much for sharing some of your time with me, Dr. Crott and board. So, and I appreciate the thoughtful comments from the member who just joined us to speak about the Teacher Ready program, to shine a little light on what it actually is. It is a completely fully accredited program, both regionally and nationally by CAPE, the Council for Accreditation of Educator Preparation. What Teacher Ready focuses on is finding teachers that are already invested in your community, right? Those that are connected to your neighborhood and your community, already teaching within the bounds of the classroom, oftentimes as long-term sub or a para or some other professional within the district. The thing that they're lacking, though, at this point is that certification to become a fully certified teacher within the district. So Teacher Ready takes the focus from the classroom in front of a professor and puts real life into practice, giving them the opportunity to really focus on the pedagogy of teaching, which is what we teach them through the rigorous lessons that they do, in fact, actually coordinate with a real life professor on. The feedback is given to them in writing. They have the opportunity to connect virtually. So it's not just a check of the box or even just a grade that they're earning. They're actually receiving written feedback that they then turn around and put into action in the classroom, which they're already teaching in. Our program carries about a 92% completion rate as well as an 80% teacher retention rate, which is well above the industry average for a traditional university-based program. It is, in fact, run through university, though, and all of the coursework is aligned to the major effective teaching frameworks. It's aligned to InTask and also based off of the Marzano, Danielson, Hattie, and Strong coursework alignment. It is 100% transferable and reciprocal with the state of Illinois. And we have many teachers that are likely already teaching not only within Peoria, but also within the state of Illinois, and a pretty expansive list of references throughout the state from different regional offices of education, district offices, teacher licensure, directors at different ROEs as well as districts alike. So that's a very high level, but I'm happy to take any additional questions as well.
Thank you, Sarah. And one of the things I'll remind the board, we were given this grant to assist us with thinking outside the box. And so there were about 5 or 6 components that we've talked about before. We do have the Grow Your Own, and it's producing, it is producing. We may get, and it's trickle, right? So we have, there are a variety of strategies that we're utilizing to grow teachers no matter where they are, whether they're uncertified, whether they have degrees or they don't have degrees. So we have the Grow Your Own program that Ms. Wilson has been doing, Linda Wilson has been the champion for many, many, many years, and she's done a very nice job with that. But we need more teachers. And we have the middle school. Part of that grant is also to have that middle school club, the high school pathway. And then this initiative that's on the agenda, it's to, as Sarah said, and she is the director of this initiative, as she said, it's really, we're targeting substitutes. They already have degrees, but they do want to be teachers, and they will work with us. We will connect them with that program, and they will, once they've successfully completed, they'll be committed to working with Peoria Public Schools for about 3 years. And just imagine an opportunity to have a good 20 to 40 teachers in about 2 years or so. They're already, as Sarah mentioned, they're already within our system. So it's just, again, another strategy to grow our own teachers. So I wanted to share that with you. And those dollars came from Illinois State Board of Education via a specific grant just to do that work.
Dr. Crott, if I might add just one more brief, real quick brief statistic. I wanted to share that we also go back to the employers with which our teachers are working, just for feedback on how they're performing after they complete their certification component with us. 96% of employers that we survey say that the teachers are making a positive impact on student learning in year 1 coming out of finishing their certification with us. And I think you'll all agree, right? The teachers in the classroom, that's where the rubber meets the road. That's where they're making an impact in the students' lives and their learning outcomes for the district. That's a statistic that we're, not to call it a statistic, but it is a figure that we're very proud of, because that really is where it's most important, is seeing that impact on the students' learning outcomes in that year 1, that the teachers are there, that they're not having to build that capacity to be a great teacher after 2 to 3 years of being there. They're doing it in year 1 of being there within your classroom in the district.
Thank you. Dr. Ranking.
And Dr. Crott, correct me if I'm wrong, but when I had asked about this, an additional thing with this is that the teachers have to stay a certain amount of time if they go through this process. Can you share that too?
That's correct. They have to stay up until 3 years with us. And I believe, Sarah, you mentioned that there were some teachers who had gone through the Teacher Ready program that are currently with Peoria Public Schools.
Yeah, so just at the time of our initial conversation, when we pulled just the data on the area, there were already 8 individuals within Peoria that were going through the program.
On their own.
Okay. Mrs. Ross.
Yes. I wanted to say I'm in full support of this program because when I first went into education, I participated in what we call the Teacher Core program, which was gave an opportunity for people who already was in the industry to get a degree and actually become a teacher, because a lot of the higher education facilities now are really not preparing our teachers for today's youth. And so it's a way to have people who have already been in this industry and understand the kids to move to the next level. So I'm in complete support of this. I think this is really good.
And Mr. Murphy, President Murphy, Ms. Ross just reminded me, I wrote it down, but I didn't say it. Many states and legislatures are also in favor of schools coming up with alternative programs to, again, attract as many teachers as possible. And so, yeah.
And so I guess along the same lines of those questions, then, if we have a group of teachers like Hetty Elliott and some others that have some innovative and creative ideas, is that something that you would be entertaining, to allow to form a committee and then bring those ideas and share that with the district?
I'll be happy to reach out to Hetty. I was in her room last week. We talked about some other things. So it'd be nice if she'd said, hey, Doc, I have some ideas. Can we? That would be nice. And I wish she had stayed to sort of listen to some of the rationale and learn a little bit more of the program. But I'll definitely go down to Lincoln and have a conversation with her for sure.
I'd like to hear an update on how that committee is coming along as well. Was there? Ms. Kostick. I'm sorry.
I just had two questions. So we're bringing in new teachers because of a shortage. I understand that. But what are we doing to help the teachers now in the classrooms? Because teachers I have talked to, they have had so many complaints about having so many students, not having proper materials and supplies. And I'm worried when we bring in new teachers, if the ones we have now don't have the proper materials to teach students, how are we supposed to give those to new teachers? And my second question is we're bringing in subs as full-time teachers and this and that, and I'm actually looking to come back to District 150 as an educator. But what are we doing now to make people like me who want to be educators actually want to be educators, actually want to teach? I feel like, yes, we should bring in substitutes, but yes, we should also involve the youth more, advertise teaching more, hold programs for them and things.
Yeah, that's great. That's great. Our student board member Sabrina, and this is very, very new, this initiative. So there's we just hired someone and she's in charge of it. Her name is Unique Moore, and you'll be hearing from her because she will be coming to the classrooms, and the lunchrooms as well. So she just started like last week. So there's a middle school club, there's a high school club. She's working with Dr. G as well.
She's in one of the dual credit classes.
And who is? Oh, and Sabrina, you're in a dual credit class as well. So, but we need to put it on steroids, so that's what we talked about. Because Sabrina, the idea is, and I've spoken to the team about it, like, you should be graduating from Peoria Public Schools with 12 to 15 credit hours. And then lots of support. So there's money for conferences, there's at the high school level. So that's one thing. And I would love for you, I'll connect you with Unique, so that you could help her and be a champion at your building. So that'll be awesome. So Dr. G, I know you're writing that down as well. And then the other thing in terms of the teachers, they really need to talk with their principal, and if like Dr. Coleman, if they need materials, because there's a curriculum department, there's a lot of professional development supports. Like Wednesday, it's a school improvement day, lots of supports. They have their department chairs where they work together. There's a lot of things happening behind the scenes, so we'll continue to do that as well. And I would like to invite you Wednesday to my superintendent roundtable if you're available at 12:30 here. If you're not working. Thank you.
Who? Then, okay, Ms. Costa.
Dr. Crop, my question is, I understand the fact that we're talking about those individuals that are currently in the sub bank that are working in Peoria Public Schools. I was wondering, I know a lot of teachers that are currently in early childhood with bachelor's degrees and some working on their masters. And with early childhood development, you can't teach from kindergarten to second grade. I was wondering whether this program would be available to those individuals
Yes,
also.
ma'am. Yes, and Sarah and I talked about it. Sarah, did you hear Mrs. Costick's wondering?
Yes, ma'am. Yep. So this would be available to them. They could certainly go through it. There's the capacity for them to be able to go through and obtain their certification. Something else that's unique is that they can also become, they can add on additional endorsements as well. So, speaking from experience and conversations with multiple districts, there's always the high need areas such as special education, math, science, right? What we like to refer to sometimes as the unicorn that may or may not have some of those that you're always after and seeking, and you can certainly utilize this for dual certification areas as well to support some of those teachers that might already be in your classroom that you just described that have that early childhood and might be in master's programs right now as well. And one of the benefits, just to touch on that, one of the benefits to this program is that they will be actually eligible for master's credit hours that can be transferred to universities anywhere from 6 to 15, depending on which university that we partner with that they transfer those credits to.
Chair.
I'm not sure if that answered the question, but please let me know if not.
Yes, it did. And then Sabrina, I just want to encourage you, talk with your school counselor. I know Mr. Jared Lucas, Peoria High has had a pipeline of students who have graduated in the last 4 to 5 years that are in school now in the field of education. And in 2019, I know there were at least 15 kids who graduated. So the process is to let your counselor know that, or your dean, and so that they can guide you in the right track.
So I actually have done that. Dr. G has also came to me and offered me this program that I'm doing along with Mr. Lucas.
Okay, good.
But the not problem, but I guess the situation is that not why, but kids, how are they supposed to come and ask counselors who, Mr. Lucas, he's only assigned a certain amount of students, so a lot of kids don't even know that he's over other stuff besides that. So my problem is how are we supposed to ask for these resources when we're not made aware of them being available to us?
Well, you can actually share it now, and it takes all of us. So that is part of the solution is, since you know, share it. And I know you guys use Twitter and all kind of things, talk about that. But there are opportunities in every building. And then lastly, I just want to say that if there's any teacher listening, if you have some ideas about this process, send it to the superintendent. I'm okay with people having an opinion, but I'd like to hear some resolution too. And I think any professional person, if this is your industry, education, and you have a point of view about something, be a part of the solution. And if you can draft something, send it. If you want to, sometimes you just got to raise your hand and volunteer and make yourself vulnerable, but make a healthy contribution, besides talking to you about it. And I used to say this to my boys, just do it. Be about it. Not just talking about it, but finding some kind of solution, resolution, building partnerships with your fellow teachers. But, it takes all of us moving it down the court and not just necessarily finger pointing anybody, but let's be a part of the solutions. Thank you.
Board Member McConnell, just quickly, Sabrina, I also needed to tell you, she reminded me of something. Also in the grants, every high school has a recruiter, right, Dr. G? So that, again, she just got on board, so you'll be hearing the they will be talking about the education pathway, and they'll be in the lunchrooms. And so that goes back to your point. And if you have any ideas, now you have direct contact to me. And if there's something you want to do, we can also probably give you a little stipend to assist as well. The other thing I was thinking about, since you're in the education pathway, which I did not realize, we can give you a letter of, Doc, we can give her a letter of commitment, right? You knew I was going there. All right, okay. Sorry, President.
Fine.
She's got a computer and everything. She's already up.
We'll be approving her on the HR report soon. All right. Thank you very much. Moving on, can I please get a motion to approve the minutes from July 24th, 2023 as presented?
So, second.
Madam Secretary, will you please call the roll?
Mrs. Costick, Mr. Claus,
To the restroom.
Mrs. McConnell,
Aye.
Dr. Rankin,
Aye.
Mrs. Ross, Mr. Wilson, President Murphy.
Aye.
We have 6 ayes, motion carries.
Thank you. Moving on now to the superintendent update. I know, is there anything else you'd like to add to?
Yeah, just quickly, I just wanted. Just kudos to Let's Look It's My Book. You were president. They had a gala on Saturday. It was amazing, standing room only. They give out 40,000 books to PPS students. Every kid in K through 4 receives 7 books a year. Sabrina, have you
Pre-K
gotten
now.
books? Now it's pre-K.
Pre-K, so we
Have you
started
gotten
that.
books from Look It's My Book when you were teeny weeny, itsy bitsy? You remember? They would come to your primary school.
I don't think I went here long enough. I
Oh,
didn't move
okay.
here until 5th grade.
Oh, okay, that's right. So it's through 4th grade. And I was just really impressed. Dr. G was in attendance, Ms. Brooks and myself, and just retired teachers and volunteers. And this is all a volunteer group that's given all these books away. So, board, we've recognized them before. Maybe at some point we should do something special for them. It was the idea of Janet Roth. So I just kind of wanted to say kudos to them. And I was just really, really impressed. And it keeps growing. Richwood's choir performed, and there were like maybe 8 students who sang, and they all, when they came to the stage, they talked about the books they received when they were in primary school, the title of the books, they still have the books, how it helped build their library at home. I was just blown away, and I wanted to give everybody a hug, but I didn't have an opportunity to do that. And then just quickly, Dr. Hassan and I went to the Peoria Role Model Project at the Civic Center event, and it's a partnership between the city of Peoria, May Ali, and PNC Brian Ray, and it was, it's all about exposing 150 aspiring youth to role models. They selected from a list of the first 50 role models. Peoria Public School was very well represented. Our board member, Mr. Greg Wilson, was selected as a Peoria role model. We had 2 principals, Dr. Coleman and Mrs. Hawks. We had an assistant principal, Dr. Andrews. We had a middle school counselor, Miss Bianca Brown. And then we had our band teacher, Mr. Renda, and 2 SROs, Officer Meacham and Officer Perkins. And then we had a behavior facilitator and assistant football coach, Asa Lewis Jr. And just really proud of PPS, right? You were represented. You represented. Yeah, I gave it to Mr. Renda, the brochure. So congratulations. It's a big deal, and the idea is to take these role models and connect them with 150 youth, aspiring youth from economically disadvantaged areas, expose them to the careers, tutoring, mentoring, you name it. And it's just the beginning. They're going to add more role models as well. So I just wanted to recognize our PPS team, starting with our board member, and Mr. Renda is here. So that's it.
Wonderful. All
Thank
right,
you.
perfect. Thank you. All right, up next, financial update, budgeted, encumbered, expended balance, and percentage balance. Ms.
Very quickly, receipts for year-to-date totaled $21.5 million. Expenditures totaled $27.1 million. Receipts are up about $1.2 million. Most of that's local taxes. expenditures are up about 7.4 million. Most of that is payroll expenses, and some of that is purchase services. Just a reminder, the budget column on this particular report is blank because we don't adopt a budget for the 23-24 year until September 25th. And so that column will be completed once we adopt a budget for the current year. If you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer those.
Any questions for Mr. Willis? Seeing none, thank you very much. Any question or any comments or questions on proposed expenditures over $2,500? Seeing none. Report of requests under the Freedom of Information Act and status of such requests.
Thank you, President Murphy. Since our board meeting on August 14th, we received 3 new requests. There were 3 pending requests that I referenced on August 14th. Of those, two remain open. So there are 5 requests currently open. And so to date, we've received 88 requests for this calendar year at a cost of $4,400. Thank you.
Thank you. And number 5, any comments or questions on the first reading of policy number 3:50, administrative personnel other than the superintendent? We're not to read that, are we? Okay. Any questions? Seeing none. All right, this time we're going to move on to our action items, the consent agenda. Vice President Reinking, would you please read the consent agenda?
The consent agenda consists of number 1, gifts to school year to date, $95,724.42, with a call out for the donation of a 2015 Ford Fusion in the amount of $1,350 by Brent Eichelberger for administration. Number 2, payment of bills. Number 3, payment for travel. Number 4, human resource report. Number 5, Lincoln HVAC. Number 6, Richwoods High School overnight trip. Number 7, Richwoods High School MCGROTC trip. Number 8, Richwoods High School MCGROTC trip. Number 9, Richwoods High School MCGROTC trip. Number 10, Memorandum of Understanding with Huron-Stetter Education for the Teacher Ready Online Certification Program. Number 11, Approval of e-learning days for the 2023-2024 school year. Number 12, Peoria Stadium Dome Foundation and Storm Sewer Project. Number 13, approval of settlement agreement between the Board of Education of Peoria Public Schools and Anna Vasquez Arch. That is the conclusion of the consent agenda.
Thank you, Vice President Reinking. Are there any action items that the board would like to have pulled for a separate discussion? Seeing none. Madam Secretary, would you please, motion, I'm sorry, can I get a motion?
Second.
Okay. And Ms. Ross, yeah.
Yeah, I have 2 actually.
Okay, so you have the same person on both bids.
Oh, well, at the bottom it should say Stark excavating.
But it doesn't, it's at the bottom.
That's a typo, you're correct, that is a typo. It's, what's highlighted on that is Stark excavating, and
Right.
that's the recommendation. Yeah, thanks,
The
Stark.
one that was signed
It is starting.
Okay. So then can I get a motion? We've already motioned, I mean,
We
to
need to
do it
hold that
again?
to amend it.
Amend it?
Yes.
He just made the clarification.
All right.
So it's been answered.
Okay.
Not for us to vote on it. No, it's fine, it's fine, okay.
All right, Madam Secretary, would you please call the roll?
Mrs. Costick? Mr. Claus?
Aye.
Mrs. McConnell? Dr. Rankin?
Aye.
Mrs. Ross? Mr. Wilson?
Aye.
President Murphy?
Aye.
We have 7 ayes, motion carries.
Moving on to deliberation agenda. Would like to, policy, yeah. Is it? Who's on the?
Oh, it's us. I'm just catching up. Jennifer, we just need some clarification on the policy number 530 with the hiring process. And I just noticed on this agenda, it says for the first reading that it's for administrative personnel other than the superintendent, and that's inclusive of the superintendent. And that policy is about the residency that we wanted all leadership, superintendent included, to reside in Peoria County.
For policy 3.50, right? Yeah.
Yeah, no, on this one here, it says the administrative personnel other than the superintendent, which is the new policy. But the new policy is requesting for the superintendent to be included in that group. That they are.
There's a separate one for the superintendent. It's a-
Oh,
it's-
okay, is it separate?
It is, yeah.
Okay.
3.50 is for administrative.
Okay.
personnel Other than the superintendent.
Okay, thank you.
So
Okay,
in
thank you.
policy, we'll need to discuss that.
Okay, thank you.
I didn't quite understand that, because I've been through all these policies. You're saying there's a separate one that says residency for the superintendent?
That it will be a separate policy, that it's separate from the administrative personnel.
Why is that?
Because that's the way that it's set up.
It's never been like that.
The district's board policy 3.50 is specifically for administrative staff other than the superintendent.
So that, as the policy stands now, that is the way it is written. And so
Right.
we will now modify the current policy for the superintendent. And the goal is to have all leadership in Peoria Public Schools living in Peoria County for several reasons, but mainly when a person is a part of a community, they are invested. Not only are they invested, but they're also a part of the tax-paying property. And it's sort of, if you think of it as an investment in your workplace. And I think that's critical for a public school, is to have that. And so that's something, so then just to be clear, that other policy is something else that needs to be modified, and we need to bring it forward separate than this 50, right?
Could I ask you to do the research on that? Because I'm the one that helped put these policies together. And we did this once before when we tried to bring in a residency policy. I never saw one separate for superintendent. Because any policy that we have, we can change it and modify it to make it fit us.
Correct.
The current board policy 3.50 is press policy, which does not include the superintendent, and now we're revising it to add administration other than the superintendent. So we'll have to look at different policies to revise.
Why not revise that one?
Right. I mean, that was the original question, that it should include that.
Okay, we can look at revising that into the second reading.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so now where else were we? I'm sorry, I was
We're on
just.
the deliberation agenda,
I
number
was,
14.
I was kind of startled by that. Okay, so the other deliberation items from the policy committee, these were policy colon 40 is a state mandate, correct, Jennifer? Like policy 40, 10, 20, and yeah, those are all state mandated updates.
Yes, we're just revising.
Okay.
In line with the current law.
Okay, thank you. Do we have any questions about those?
You gotta-
We just have to
vote
read
on
them.
separate.
Okay, so I have to read it and then accept, and then we have to take a motion? Okay. All right, number 14, policy number 5:40, communicable and chronic infectious disease. And we're asking that the board approve the attached updated policy 5:40.
So when she reads it, it counts as a motion, right? Okay.
Second.
Madam Secretary, will you please call the roll?
Mrs. Costick? Mr. Claus?
Aye.
Mrs. McConnell?
Aye.
Dr. Ranking?
Aye.
Mrs. Ross? Mr. Wilson?
Aye.
President Murphy?
Aye.
We have 7 ayes, motion carries.
Okay, item number 15, policy number 5:10, equal employment opportunity and minority recruitment. And the proposed action is that the board will approve the attached updated policy.
Second.
Madam Secretary, will you please call the roll?
Mrs. Costick? Mr. Claus?
Aye.
Mrs. McConnell?
Aye.
Dr. Ranking? Mrs. Ross? Mr. Wilson?
Aye.
President Murphy?
Aye.
We have 7 ayes, motion carries.
Okay, item 16, policy number 5:20, workplace harassment prohibited. And the Board of Education is seeking approval for the attached updated policy.
Oh, second.
You taking a
Madam
nap?
Secretary, will you please call the roll?
Mrs. Costick? Mr. Claus? Mrs. McConnell?
Aye.
Dr. Ranking? Mrs. Ross? Mr. Wilson?
Aye.
President Murphy?
Aye.
We have 7 ayes, motion carries.
Okay, item number 17, 5:30, hiring process and criteria, and that needs to be updated to include the superintendent in the second reading.
No, this is a different policy.
Oh, it's a different,
30 is different than 3:50.
okay, 3:50. Okay, thank you. Okay, hiring process and criteria has been updated to be in line with the state mandate. And the Board of Education is seeking approval for the updated policy.
Second.
Madam Secretary, will you please call the roll?
Mrs. Costick? Mr. Claus? Mrs. McConnell?
Aye.
Dr. Ranking? Mrs. Ross? Mr. Wilson?
Aye.
President Murphy?
Aye.
7 ayes, motion carries.
So that's it for policy.
Who's on this?
Item 18, expulsion. With the expulsion to be held in abeyance, the proposed action is that the Board of Education approve the expulsion with the expulsion held in abeyance listed on the report dated August 28, 2023, be approved as presented.
Second.
Madam Secretary, will you please call the roll?
Mrs. Costick?
Aye.
Mr. Claus? Mrs. McConnell?
Aye.
Dr. Ranking? Mrs. Ross? Mr. Wilson?
Aye.
President Murphy?
Aye.
7 ayes, motion carries.
Item 19 is a revocation of expulsion held in abeyance. The proposed action is that the Board of Education approve revocation of expulsion held in abeyance listed on the report dated August 28, 2023, be approved as presented.
Second.
Madam Secretary, will you please call the roll?
Mrs. Costick?
Aye.
Mr. Claus? Mrs. McConnell?
Aye.
Dr. Ranking? Mrs. Ross? Mr. Wilson?
Aye.
President Murphy?
Aye.
7 ayes, motion carries.
Item 20, suspension review appeal. The proposed action is that the Board of Education approve the suspension review appeal listed on the report dated August 28, 2023, be approved as presented.
Second.
Madam Secretary, will you please call the roll?
Mrs. Costick?
Aye.
Mr. Claus? Mrs. McConnell?
Aye.
Dr. Ranking? Mrs. Ross? Mr. Wilson? President Murphy?
Aye.
We have 7 ayes. Motion carries.
Thank you. Presentation and suggestions by board members. Yes, Dr. Rankin?
I just want to say that President Murphy and I were able to start the process of meeting with Quest. As the board members may know, this year is the year that we vote again on the Quest charter. So President Murphy and I are both attending those meetings, so just know that that is happening. And we will be updating the board and the community through kind of a dictated process of dates, but just know that that is upcoming for this school year.
Thank you. Reports from board committees. Are there any? Okay. May I please get a motion to adjourn?
So moved.